So why do some parents feel the need to pay a significant amount of money to pay for special education programs in private schools like LaSalle or Thomas Edison instead of free special education at public schools like Riverdale?
Great question. I think, well, I can't speak for other districts, but I know, like Riverdale, we're under all the federal guidelines. We have to, if you don't qualify for special ed according to the federal paperwork and the federal eligibility guidelines, then you can't be in special ed. But I think in private schools that have special ed, they don't have to go by all that federal stuff because they're not federally funded necessarily. They might be, but I know, like we're so tightly bound to the federal laws.
Right.
But I don't think private schools are. I also think that people in big districts like say Portland or Beaverton or something like that, the special ed programs are not great, and there are tons of kids in the program, and there might be a self-contained class with 30 kids in it with all these really high needs, and so parents don't feel like their kids are getting a very good education there. So they might just go to a private school thinking, well, clearly it's going to be better because it's a private school.
Right.
So.
Okay. Why did you choose to teach at public school instead of a private institution?
Let's go on. Well, when I came first out of college 30 years ago, I think everybody was just kind of getting jobs in public schools. I didn't really even know better. My mom had been a public school teacher, but also public school teachers make a lot more money than private school teachers, and at least they used to. And so that was kind of the very beginning of my career. Once I knew about private schools, I knew that I was going to make more money in the public schools.
Okay. Does Riverdale use the IEP, Individual Education Plan, and if not, how do other public schools use this?
We do, yes. All public schools do. That's the big paperwork that is the special ed document. It's a legal document. Every kid who's in special ed in any public school in the country, I think, has to have an IEP.
So what is an IEP?
An IEP it tells all the stuff that the kid's going to do in the special ed program. It talks about, like, does he need accommodations for state testing? What is he going to do, or she, when they come to the resource room? What are they actually going to work on? They're going to multiply a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number, all these goals. It talks about accommodations in the classroom, like if they need to sit close to the teacher, if they need more time on their assignments, if they need shortened assignments. It even talks about, like, are they in a regular setting, or are they going to be in a self-contained special ed class? Are we going to place them at a different school? If we decide that they must go to a different school, that we can't serve them here, we have to pay for that. So it kind of spells out every single aspect of that kid's education.
Right. Okay, what do students in the special education program here at Riverdale receive that they probably couldn't at a private school?
They receive really good service, really good individualized service. We're really in tune with our parents, being so small. We get right back to our parents right away. We often work with little kids one-on-one, which is almost unheard of in a big school district. When they come to us, if I'm teaching a kid how to read, I do that right across the table from them, one-on-one. So I think we give really good service,
right? Just
because we're small.
Yeah. How does Riverdale determine who's eligible for assistant learning?
That's a huge one, and it's different. It's different depending on the disability. We have to follow the federal guidelines. There's a big federal bunch of paperwork on the Oregon Department of Ed website. You can actually look it up. And it shows you how a kid becomes eligible in every category, like autism or speech language or blind or learning disability. So we just have to follow it. I can't really explain because they're all different.
Right.
But each one of them has a really strict set of criteria for how you qualify. It's based on assessment testing and observation and checklists that the parents fill out and teacher information. So it all kind of comes together. We do it all as a team.
Okay.
Nobody can do anything by themselves. We're all team oriented. And we, as a team, including the parents, determine whether kids are eligible based on federal rules.
Right. Do you think that the state of Oregon provides enough funding for special education programs in public schools? If so, why is there a need for private schools to offer special education programs?
I don't think we have enough funding, but I don't think we have enough funding for anything in general. And I just heard this weekend that Oregon is one of the worst funded states in the country. Did you know that?
No,
We're like 41st out of 50 for funding. Didn't know that.
For funding for what?
For everything. Like overall funding per kid from the federal government, we're 41st, I think, out of 50. So we don't get enough funding. But, so the second half of your question is, What was the second half of your question?
Well, you don't think there is, so it doesn't really apply. I said, why is there need for private schools to offer special education?
Well, I do think that kids who go to private schools should be able to receive special ed. I know there are some schools like, I want to say OES or Catlin or some of those, and a lot of the parochial schools just don't offer anything. So I think they all should offer something, because kids do go to those schools that have special needs, and they should be able to get some special ed there.
Right. All right, that's all.
That's it.
Yep, thanks.